is the Magnate. Recall that sometimes ago we talked about the production of local content, and we had a veteran in the industry to educate us on the needs to produce more local content for our broadcast space. And today we are endowed with who should know. It's actually a big fish. Who are we talking about? We're going to be looking at the broad aspect of broadcasting as it concerns Nigeria and even in the globe, because we'll be making some comparative analysis. And who is our magnate for this week? The only way you find out. Let us give you the profile documentary of our magnate. And you agree with me. He's a very well-known face, familiar in this industry, maybe number one in the broadcast industry of Nigeria. We'll be back shortly.
Professor Armstrong Idachaba currently serves as Director General of the National Broadcasting Commission. He was born in Sokoto State. He received a bachelor's degree in theatre arts from University of Jos in 1985, and in 1993 he earned a master's degree in theatre arts from the same university. In 2008, Idachaba received a PhD in media studies from University of Abuja, while in 2003 he took executive management courses in Georgetown University and Kennedy School, Harvard University in 2016. Between 1986 and 1996, Professor Idachaba lectured English and theatre arts at Kogi State College of Education, Akpan. Within this period, he wrote features for the Nigerian Voice newspaper and was an artist and presenter with Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Makurdi. He served as director, movie theatre promotion from 1986 to 1990. Professor Idachaba later transferred his services to universities, teaching mass communication at Nasarawa State University, Kefi, Bingham University, and the Nigerian Institute of Journalism, Abuja. On February 14, 2020, he was appointed the Acting Director General of the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC.
Yeah, welcome back. The program is The Magnate. You'll agree with me that we had that very intimidating profile of our magnate for the week. And it's my pleasure, really delighted to be a guest in his office. My pleasure to welcome to the magnate, Professor Armstrong Idachaba, the Director General of National Broadcasting Commission. Thank you very much for obliging our interview, sir.
Thank you very much, Haji Amina, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. It's a great, on behalf of NBC, we welcome you to your regulatory agency.
Thank you, sir. When you say broadcasting, you are talking more of electronic media, isn't it? You probably want to just set the pace for us. People think that why NBC, even though it came well after we had electronic media in Nigeria, why do we have to have NBC, for instance, National Broadcasting Commission?
Let me thank you for raising this question. Of course, a lot of people generally do not understand the functionality, generally speaking, of regulatory agencies, and including the broadcast regulator, as in this case. Regulation basically is to protect society from harm. And I think that even from the biblical, the times of the Quran, God, also in his infinite mercy, in spite of all the freedom that he gave to man at creation, also created certain guidelines, that were supposed to define, the living, the standards of living of Adam and Eve, and by extension, humanity. And some of these guidelines are coded in the holy books. Of course, there's free will, but for the sake of the protection of the integrity of mankind, God, in his spirituality and wisdom, created those guys in the same manner. I think that governments and leaderships across the world have found a need to sort of establish certain regulations, if you want, quote and unquote, measures of control, so that societies can better interrogate, better execute their fundamental basic given rights to existence in a way that by their own expression or by their own freedoms, they do not also inhibit or curtail the freedoms of other people. And that basically is the purpose for regulation. And if you look around, all critical facets of society, actually, component facets of society, industries are actually regulated. In the transport sector, road transport sector, you have the FRSC, the Road Safety Commission, not just in Nigeria. Even before FRSC, we had the Highway Patrol, and there were rules for engagement on the highway. Rules that told you, for instance, that there's speed limit. Rules that told you, for instance, that you must have fire extinguisher. They do not inhibit liberty, but they are all created to ensure that people live without the modicum of civilized and respectable conduct. And it's so for building. You don't just wake up and build any kind of building the way you want. It's guided by building laws so that the buildings themselves do not also go and collapse and kill people. So in all the facets, in aviation, there are rules. But we believe, and I've come to see over time, that of all the component facets of human endeavor, perhaps broadcasting is the one that should be the most sensitively regulated because everything depends on broadcasting.
Yes, because of the sensitive nature of
absolutely
content. Thank you so much. Quite a voluminous explanation there. We appreciate. Now, do I call it the rave of the moment? I mean, digital switch over. That's where we started the relationship from. And a lot of people are thinking that time has come of age that we really actualize this. Probably there are things that we didn't quite address at the webinar. You probably want to use this opportunity to really explain it in a way that the ordinary Nigerian would understand what digital switchover, I'm talking of analog to digital now.
Exactly.
I mean, that's simply what it means, sir.
Thank you, and I'm glad you also raised this. First of all, what's the imperative for a digital transition? Digital transition is imposed on humanity by advances in technology. In the 20th century, of course, the fact is, society has realized, the technology scientists, everybody realizes that human business, human engagements are more executed, more favorably executed in terms of quantitative, qualitative delivery with digital technology. So you find advancements in terms of compression, in terms of the use and enablement of digital access. And one area that we have found out that digital technology will be most useful is in the area of broadcasting for several reasons. We have found out that digital technology enhances, programming content quality in terms of the value, the quality of picture that you receive, more clarity, glaring aesthetic appeal in terms of the audio sound delivery. Then in terms of the capacity, the possibility to maximize the use of spectrum, frequency. And that way you are more able to enable more people, to play within the digital space. Mm-hmm. And then there's also, more interestingly, the capacity for interactiveness, which is also facilitated by convergence, technology convergence, so that you see the entry points are lowered, and more people are able to participate within the digital space. So for broadcasting, you are more able to thematize, you are more able to specialize. You now have opportunity for people coming with sports content, documentaries, fashion, sports, music, and so on and so forth. So it's an age of innovativeness that's facilitated by advances in digital technology. But where are we in Nigeria with regards to the transition, which is the critical point?
Yes, sir.
The first thing to note is that since about 2007, 2008, actually Nigeria had begun the digital transition in practical terms. The moment that DSTV, Details Nigeria, ABG, CTL, when they started offering multiple channels, multiple programming content, though it was on the pay platform, they had actually introduced digital broadcasting. And as we speak, there are many digital broadcast platform providers in Nigeria. GoTV, DSTV, Star Times, My TV, right? So there, and so on and so forth. We have licensed TSTV, which is the latest one. In NBC, we've actually licensed over 30 pay TV providers that were supposed to do their offering using digital technology. But perhaps where the gap is, with regards to the open terrestrial television. And that is the one that actually concerns the average Nigerian.
Ordinary Nigerian.
Fine. And that was why government, in its wisdom, decided that the whole talk about digital transition can only be appreciated if the technology is brought to the level of the ordinary man, so as to reduce the levels of social stratification that exist in terms of broadcast content access. You know, and that was why government, in line with the ITU declaration, which was a global declaration, began our own phased implementation of the digital switchover process for terrestrial television. And so far, by the grace of God, we have been able to go into at least 1/3 of the country.
Wow.
Yes, out of about 36 states, we are in 5-6 states already. So we need to go to thirds more, which is still a long way to go. Yes. But we are gratified that, like in all things technology, once you establish the template, all you need to do is to replicate. You know, so all we need to do is to do the same things we have done in the 6 states where we are, right? Establish the signal distribution. Already Nigeria is blessed with a lot of content, as you know, and there are many creative minds that are willing to offer even more content. You know, and our DSO offering, the terrestrial offering, the 32 channels we are offering from now in all the places we are entirely local Nigerian channels, you know, which is a major proposition. And we want to keep it that way. We want to give opportunity to young Nigerians, creative people to unleash their creative impulse, you know, on the digital platform.
Excellent.
So we may have had some little hindrances in terms of finances, in terms of some bureaucratic challenges. But again, the good news is we are ready to go. In a short while from now, we intend to roll out in Lagos and Kano and Port Harcourt. And we hope that by the time we do that, we'll accelerate the process.
Wow, I'm sure you have really answered a lot of questions. Let's go for a quick break. When we come back, he's still here with us. We are still sharing thoughts on the broadcast industry in Nigeria.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Magnate Show, and this is the digital marketing aspect. So I'm Murtado Alajobi, and with me today I have
Alamina Bolare.
And today we'll be talking about the emergence of the digital economy. So, I mean, we've been hearing digital economy, digital everywhere, right? So how did this economy start, and what is it all about? How can we take advantage of this emergence of the digital economy to grow our businesses? So, I mean, what do you have to say first about the digital economy?
It's something that has come to stay, definitely. And I like the fact that we're even having this discussion, because that shows that this is happening and people are really ready to pay attention to it. So it's really, businesses are now coming online, and you definitely understand this too, that a lot of businesses are tapping into digital technologies and all to...
I mean, social media, websites, it's everywhere, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the phone.
It's in the phone, literally. So I can actually launch a business, and one thing that digital economy allows for is the flexibility. So you don't need to have everything in the whole world to start your business. I can start selling. Maybe I have something in my house that I want to sell. I want to sell a pen. I can take a picture, put it on my social media, and so that's one, and then I can sell it. That's one thing that the digital economy allows. So what really is the digital economy in your own?
Okay, so for me, I mean, digital economy, right? I mean, economy. So is the digital aspect of the economy, and now, I mean, the economy is mainly digital. And I feel like people want to know, like, how did this thing even start? And for me, from what I know of digital marketing and digital economy and everything, it goes back to the late 90s and early 2000s when the internet boom came about, right?
When we have Facebook,
that's when we had Facebook, Google, and all those coming up, right? So I mean, it all started with the internet, and after the founding of the internet, people saw that they could connect more people in different locations, and started connecting people
without paying everything.
Without, I mean, then it looked like magic. That how can you connect people from far places, right? And then now we had the WWW World Wide Web come up, and then people started having like a folder on the internet. So you have a folder, and then you want me to view it. So I just go to www.alamin.com, and I can view your folder. That's your website. And so that was the first.
I think I get what you're
coming
trying
up
to
of the
say there.
digital
So
economy.
it is like I am buying a plot of land, somewhere and I own it to myself. That's like you're establishing yourself on the internet.
So you have your own space.
Absolutely.
So I mean, and that's where it all started.
Yeah.
And then that's when we had Facebook come up.
Right.
We had www.facebook.com. Then we had
Google. I see freedom here when we talk about the digital economy and how it has liberated a lot of people, because I have a website of my own today.
It's yours.
And I can lend my voice
there
to the whole world.
Yes.
Just like what we're doing on the Magnate show today. We're trying to lend a voice of growth to businesses by discussing this issue. And so tapping into the digital economy,
it's endless.
It's endless.
It's endless. You can reach millions of people like just with one single post. And I feel like businesses, especially in Nigeria and Africa, are not paying too much attention to this digital economy. That's one aspect that people need to pay more attention to.
Start thinking about.
So I mean, having websites, you need to have a website, because website is like your online identity.
That's one.
I mean, social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn. There's a lot of them. And then you have, what do they call it, online directories. They're talking about Google My Business. Then you need to make video content. And there's a lot in this digital economy. And we can't possibly like discuss everything right here.
So to start, what you need is get yourself online, because literally if you're not online, you're nowhere.
That is the first
thing. So if you don't have to build a website, you can just open up your social media handles, platforms,
and it's free. It's free.
Absolutely free. Start making use of these platforms, just like the platform we've discussed: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and
Twitter.
all. And start establishing yourself online. That's how you can tap into the digital economy.
As a business,
even as an individual. That's something that every one of us need to start thinking about today. And next week, we're also going to be discussing other very, very important issue in the digital marketing space. Thank you very much for watching this edition of the digital marketing segment of the Magnate Show. Please follow us on our social media handles to get more of our content, and also call the numbers on the screen for sponsorship and adverts. We'd love to give you more value. You can help us do that. Thank you very much.
This is the Magnate. You're welcome back to a very interactive session with the Director General of National Broadcasting Commission, Professor Armstrong Idachaba. Now, people believe, or people have the opinion, in fact, that question also came up from the webinar where I threw it to the foreign speaker, that we have sort of proliferation, but even you are still saying that we will have more.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that with the population of Nigeria, do you think we even have enough? Even though people are thinking that we have a proliferation of broadcast stations.
Yeah, I think that those who bother about proliferation actually bother because of the negation or seeming or obvious denigration of ethics. You know, and I know for veterans it's a disturbing point. You know, but again, it's one problem that the industry has to address, because even in recent time, we have had some kind of disturbing trend within the industry where untrained, unprofessional, you know, ungrounded neophytes just get into the industry and create problems for the entire industry in terms of what they deliver. You know, what comes to mind is some coverage of some national crisis, you know, where there's no careful editorializing, where there was no fact-checking, no authentication or verification, and contents are just dumped on viewers. That is a disturbing trend, and we think we can cure that with industry collaboration in terms of direct, consistent training and retraining. But of course, we need many more channels. I mean, a country of 200 million people, and then look at our ethnic
diverse interests,
ethnic diversities, you know, ethnic cultural diversities, even social diversities, professional diversities. So we must have a broadcast sector. Exactly. So we have the potential, and I think it's a big challenge. And for us, what that challenge offers us is an opportunity, like I said, for our younger minds, you know, to be usefully engaged. You know, departments of mass comm and theaters are increasing across the country. Now, where are those creative entrepreneurs? Where are they going to exhibit their skills? So you need to create those avenues.
Okay, sir. This brings me to the next issue of local content.
Yes.
Time was, as I said, the 98, your regulators will come. How many local content do you have? How many days in terms of percentage and all that? How are we faring? Because time was, again, that we relied so much on a lot of these foreign programs to fill our airspace. How much of local content do you think we should have? How are we encouraging the young minds that you're talking about now to ensure that we tell our story?
Thank you. And again, this is a very important point to me. I'm personally very glad that you raised it. One of the abiding qualities of a regulator, broadcast regulator in any country, for me, is a national conviction, to promote the local industry. It is something that the regulator has to undertake in the national spirit, and it must be done with some patriotic compulsion. And what has NBC done over time? Which is why I said it's good you did it. At the time that people thought that local content was not possible within the Nigerian cultural space, NBC, perhaps the only country in Africa, came up with the initiative of the 60% minimum local content.
In any broadcast station.
And I remember very well, I was new in NBC, when stations like Rhythm, which were the new FM stations, said that their facility couldn't play Nigerian music. That the qualities were not good enough for stereo sound.
Let them produce.
So, what happened? But we insisted. Even DSTV at that time, when they came, insisted that there was no good Nigerian content for them to put on their platform. Imagine. But we were insisted that they must take 20%. And what did they do? Because we insisted, DSTV, for instance, had to go and look for local Nigerian producers, collected their VHF, in terms of, in spite of the quality, and dumped them on a channel. And they immediately gave traction to those old VHF productions, which over time have now increased in terms of quality and standards, and also of value, right? And that was how it continued till, as we speak, DSTV's major source of sustenance, now you won't believe, is more of local content than foreign.
They even purchase.
More. So you now have African Magic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Igbo channel, Hausa channel, Igala channel.
Ripping from.
Absolutely. So local content is key, but the regulator must have an abiding faith in a commitment to promote the national ideology. And that is why sometimes, when we take positions we are convinced about, we don't really bother what the critics actually think, so long as there is a conviction that this is in the national interest. The same thing with the music channel. The radio said they couldn't play Nigerian music, but we insisted. Now, these days you find out that the biggest music channels in the world are actually Nigerian content. All the stars you have, Two-Face, Davido, they have a historical base from the exposure that they got from the broadcast sector.
Okay, DG, before I lose that thought, it's good that you have brought up the music aspect. But sometimes, I wonder what, pardon me, the regulation in the area of music, it's like it's not optimal. That's why I said you're harder on MTA, the public stations, than the private ones. Sometimes I watch some of these private stations and the kind of
music
lack of cultural aspect of the music bothers me. In fact, this morning while I was waiting at the lobby in my hotel, I still saw one. I'm like, is NBC watching?
Let me just agree with you totally that it's been a challenge over time. I think the problem, and again, the regulator understands it, is for us to, at the initial time, to think that pay TV was more or less narrowcast. Remember when it started, not many Nigerians were actually able to afford.
Status.
But now, it is easily affordable and is everywhere. The embarrassment you saw at the hotel, I've seen it severally. Sometimes you walk in the hot afternoon, and then you see some almost nude people. But you see it on pay TV. But in the recent time, we have called them to our office, we have met with them, and we have given them a deadline, right, that they need to tidy it up. The excuse that it's pay TV does not suffice. The Nigerian cultural environment is the same, and people have access. So let me use this medium to further warn musical channels that are careless with regards to regulations regarding decency in terms of music content or any other content, to sit up. Because, again, this is enough caution. By January, when we start fining, let Nigerians not shout that we are over-regulated because we have a duty to protect our cultural environment.
Yeah, they follow up to that, sir. Yeah. They will tell you that is what sells the market.
Absolutely.
For some of us that are majorly into the developmental broadcasting and, you know, telling the human angle stories, we hardly get commercial content, but that is what sells the market. Is that enough to allow to look the other way?
Again, that's a lame for me, and excuse me, viewer, if you have that view, it's a lame defense. The fact that people want certain things doesn't mean that it's good for them. Why don't you declare drugs free for everybody to take? Because a few people want drugs. You know, what is bad is bad. What is morally destructive? Every society has a responsibility, you know, to check. There are, and we have seen over time that there are a lot of musicians that sing clean music, that their music sells. Yeah. I mean, it's all the stars you have on the world are not celebrities or they are not box office hits because they are vulgar. Certainly not. So I think it's a defeatist view, and we encourage people to come up with clean, decent music and productions. What really matters, what really sells is consumer consumption. More of the products as people take, not as poisonous or not the volume of poison that it carries. Obviously not.
Yes, I'm sure you're having me to thank by featuring this, our Magnate, our erudite scholar on the program today. Thank you so much. The Magnate it has been. If you enjoyed what you saw today, be rest assured that we'll continue to bring you quality content, quality magnates, and the major players in the various industry in Nigeria. Join us same time next week when we shall bring you another regular program